Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Dante Centofanti.
And I'm Austin Arnold.
The Kent State men's basketball team has been on a roll and look to keep it up in a Saturday matchup with the Eastern Michigan Eagles.
And our reporter Matthew Mergen was at the game on Saturday, and he has the highlights.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Mergen. I went to the game this weekend, and what a game it was. Let's take a look at the highlights. The Flashes took the lead here early in this one. Here's a nice assist to Giovanni Santiago for the three. Flashes go up early in this one, and then the Flashes played great defense all game. Santiago able to stay with his man. Eastern Michigan moving the ball well, but Danny Pippen makes a great play here as he gets this steal and goes all the way. Two hands for safety on the dunk. Pippen was a one-man show all game and was one assist shy of a triple-double on the game. But you can't count Eastern Michigan out. Great defense turns into great offense. Montero gets the steal, and Eastern Michigan University bring the thunder on the alley-oop, and the Eagles draw it close. Great ball movement, and Montero calls his own number again off the screen, hits the tough three. What a shot, and Kent State is forced to call a timeout, but the Flashes were able to close out the game. Great defense by Pippen leads to a missed three here for Eastern Michigan University, and then a dime pass by Santiago on the run, and then the left-handed punctuation dunk by Pippen. This one was all over. Flashes win 64-51. Here's what Coach Senderoff had to say after the game.
Pressure picked up. We started getting some stops and out in transition, created some turnovers. I think that was the difference of the game, but obviously proud of our guys for getting this win. We're supposed to play 4 regular season games and then at least 1 in Cleveland. And for us to win, we're going to have to defend at a high level. So we've done that. We've done a really good job with that, and we just got to continue with that.
Let's take a look at the MAC basketball standings, shall we, gentlemen? Toledo is still up at 13-3. Akron is right behind them at 12-3. And then you have the Golden Birds at 11-4 in third place. Now, Matt, Austin, we look at this Kent State team, and the 4 losses that they do have staring them in the face are to 2 of the best teams in the conference. And although they've been competitive in almost every single game that they played, they've been very good, well-balanced team. They still have those losses staring them in the face. You know what I'm saying?
The losses are a problem, but if you look at Kent State as a whole, like Coach Senderoff said in the press conference, they are defending better. They're playing better on both sides of the ball. And if you look at just the upcoming schedule, this is arguably one of the hardest schedules to end the year. You have Ball State, who hasn't won a game since February 6th, so Kent State should have no problem beating them. But Miami, Ohio, and Buffalo are 3 teams that concern me because although Miami's record isn't, like what Kent State's is, they are still a hard team to play. And Ohio and Buffalo at the end of the year, Dante, that's just, to me, you have to capitalize on both of those games because Buffalo played you the closest out of these 2 teams.
That's very true. Buffalo did look very competitive when they played each other earlier in this season.
Now, Matt, what do you think about Kent State's chances of winning the MAC?
I personally like Kent State's chances. They win the games that they're supposed to, and they don't play down to their opponents, and they're an extremely consistent team. Their losses are against good teams, like Dante said, and Danny Pippen has been all season, leading the team in 3 of the 5 major statistical categories. And they're always competitive. They committed double the turnovers of Toledo in their first matchup and only lost the game by 2. So if they clean that up, they should be able to win that game.
Matt, who would you pick to win the MAC championships if not Kent State?
If Kent State doesn't go all the way, I would pick Toledo. If not Kent, they got great depth. They got 5 double-digit scorers. They move the ball while averaging the most assists per game in the MAC, and they average the least amount of turnovers per game out of the top 3 teams in the MAC, which is extremely crucial. I like Kent. They handle business against the teams they should be.
All in all, Matt, what do you believe is the deciding factor for Kent State, and what do you think they need to do to get over the hump to beat teams like Toledo and Akron, who they were in close matchups with?
I think the biggest factors for Kent are rebounding the basketball. They average the most rebounds per game in the MAC, and that is crucial. Defense is extremely important, averaging the most steals, so if they keep that up, they should have a shot. And they need to cut the turnovers. They average the most turnovers among the top 3 teams in the MAC, and they are one of the teams that averages the most overall in the Mid-Eastern Conference.
All right, thank you, Matt, for that in-depth breakdown of Kent State men's basketball. And after dropping 3 straight games to Bowling Green, Central Michigan, and Western Michigan, the Lady Flashes basketball team swept Northern Illinois over the weekend to put themselves at 4th in the conference. On Saturday, the affair was close as the Lady Flashes were able to pull out a 69-65 win and then followed it up yesterday with a 73-58 victory. And on Saturday, Neela Blackford Lindsey Thal and Katie Shoemate all combined for 41 of Kent State's 69 points in the win. And yesterday, Claire Kelly tagged the game-high 19 points in the victory, with Blackford, Thal, and Shoemate also scoring in double digits to help propel the Lady Flashes. And now Todd Starkey has his team being able to string together 2 critical wins and improving themselves in conference positioning for the tournament in Cleveland.
All right, let's look at the MAC women's standings, shall we, Austin? You have BG leading the way at 12-3. You have Central at 11-5, OU 10-5. You have the Flashes at 8-4. But then you have a plethora of teams: Buffalo, Northern Illinois coming up on the rear, Eastern Michigan, Ball State is no joke. The MAC women's MAC women's conference. Excuse me, I can't talk today. It's very competitive, and it's much more competitive than the men's.
It is very competitive, like you did say, but for the women, Bowling Green and Buffalo are the 2 games that I'm going to watch for the women's to end the year, because the offense has to run through Lindsey Thal, and Nyla Blackford needs to keep up on the boards. If she can rebound at a high clip and outside perimeter shooting from Thal is on point, this team can get back to where they are. And we're going to go to the upcoming schedule right here: Buffalo, Miami, Bowling Green, and Akron to end out the year. And like I just stated, Dante, the Bowling Green game and the Buffalo game, those are 2 big games for this team, as Miami and Akron really don't pose a problem.
Definitely. I mean, Todd Starkey, though, is one of the elite conferences in mid-major women's basketball for a reason, Austin. He is very good. He has a lot of knowledge. The women's team is very competitive, but this conference is very competitive. And I have every confidence in the world that he's going to keep this team playing well, that he's going to keep them playing focused, because this is a great squad. This is a great group of players, and I have every confidence in the world that they're still going to win this conference.
I 100% agree with you. I think it's going to come down to the tournament ultimately. They need to find a way to just win 2 of the last 4 games, and I believe that this Kent State women's team will do that. And then once you do that, it's going to all come down to fate in March with the tournament. So that, to me, is going to be the big eye that I look at to end the year for the women's basketball team, Dante.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, if you look at them going forward, I mean, they do have an upcoming schedule that's going to be very brutal on them. I mean, we talked about the brutalness of the men's upcoming schedule. The women's schedule is going to be even more competitive and even more brutal. But like I said, Todd Starkey's one of the better coaches in women's college basketball and women's mid-major college basketball. He's going to keep them playing focused. This team has a lot of great playmakers, a lot of great shooters, a lot of great players who are fundamentally sound. I have every confidence in the world that they're going to be okay.
All right, that's for women's basketball. And now to the Kent State baseball team, as they kicked off their season this weekend in a Sunday doubleheader with ACC powerhouse Virginia Tech University. In the first game, the Golden Flashes found themselves out hitting the Hokies, but struggled with stranding runners on base in the 3-1 loss. The story of the second game, however, for the Golden Flashes was battling from behind, as Virginia Tech took a strong early lead. Some late offense just wasn't good enough for the Golden Flashes as they dropped their second game of the doubleheader 9-2. The Kent State baseball team looks to bounce back this weekend at Tennessee Tech University.
Let's get to some softball news. The Kent State softball team opened up action in Athens, Georgia this past weekend in a pair of double games with both the Georgia Bulldogs and the Longwood Lancers. The Flashes dropped their 2 games to the nationally ranked Georgia Bulldogs, but senior Kennedy Goff had 5 weekend hits that led to the Flashes to 2 victories over Longwood. The Flashes look to keep it rolling this weekend, the weekend of March 6th, in the Easton T-Down Showdown in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
From softball to lacrosse, the lacrosse team played host on Friday in a below-freezing matchup with the Fresno State Bulldogs. The Flashes were led offensively by junior midfielder Abby Jones, who netted 4 goals throughout the matchup, and sophomore attacker Kenzie Schuyler adding 3 goals on her own. The offensive energy was not good enough, as the Golden Flashes lost 20-11, but looked to bounce back in their February 28th meeting with Marquette. When we come back, we will hit the ground running with Kent State track and field, volleyball, and much, much more. So do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes. I mean,
Right.
like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know.
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Welcome back to Sports Corner. On Saturday, the Golden Flashes track and field team hosted the Kent State Tune-Up, where they competed with Youngstown State, Miami, Ohio, Ashland, and Buffalo. Highlighting the Kent State Tune-Up was freshman pole vaulter Leah Pascoletti, setting a new school record of 14 feet and half of an inch, moving her to 14th spot in the national rankings. Also representing the Flashes was senior Grace Tennant, winning her 6th consecutive women's shot put competition dating back to the 2020 MAC Championships. The pairing of Tennant and teammate Gabby Bailey sweep 1 and 2 yet again for the Flashes. Another dominant pairing that took over the tune-up event was seniors Joshua Allen and Justin Prack, leading the pack for the men's mile run, with the pairing separated by a mere second and a half. Rounding out the stellar performances for the Flashes was a battle between Jacob Malley and Alexander Shields for the winner of the men's 60-meter hurdles, separated by a fraction of a second. Jacob Malley took home the first place finish of a great tune-up for the Golden Flashes.
From track and field to volleyball, the Kent State volleyball team continued their dominant start to this season over the weekend in a trip to Toledo. The team only needed a drop of a single frame on both Saturday and Sunday, putting away the Rockets and winning in straight sets. Sophomore Savannah Matthews led the Golden Flashes with the net of 17 kills in both weekend games. The Flashes look to stay hot Thursday and on Friday in their hosted games with Bowling Green. Kent State gymnastics team cruised to a win against Mid-American Conference rival Central Michigan on Sunday. The team scored just over 196 points in the contest. It's the most the team has ever scored since 2018. This team has the number 23 ranked floor lineup in the country, and they are living up to the hype this season. Coach Bryce Biggin said, "This was the best I have seen them compete in a very long time, and I am extremely proud with how they have handled themselves against a very good Central Michigan team. This team will compete 3 more times to end the regular season before the MAC Championships. MAC Championships take place on March 20th.
Innovation in how athletes train changes every day, and Kent State alum Brandon Wesig is changing the way youth basketball players go after their dreams. I sat down with him to discuss his invention, the never-ending defender.
Just explain, to the viewers at home what the never-ending defender is. If they've never heard of it, they, or they know nothing about basketball. Just explain just what the purpose of the never-ending defender is.
So in a super quick kind of one-liner, the never-ending defender is a basketball training device developed to teach you to shoot with a defender in your face and to practice dribbling without seeing the ball. And so the idea behind the harness is it simulates an in-game experience when you're practicing alone.
You use the never-ending defender. How, if they have a question, how does their son or their daughter, how does a player use it?
But essentially, so we have a harness here, super lightweight, only 8 ounces, but super sturdy. Went through a lot of different prototypes and tests to make sure that it's safe, doesn't bop you in the face, lightweight, stable, has integrity. But essentially, has a little harness you put on, you attach it to your body, and this shield right here, as you're shooting, when you go up, if I can show you, it would be almost like you're shooting like this, and when you shoot, it's just like if there was a defender with their hand in their face. which is actually a novel concept. We have our patent for it. There's really nobody else on the market that's been able to solve this issue. There's a million training aids and devices on the market. Everything else is stationary. We kind of pride ourselves on, and when I was developing this, being the one of the only mobile training devices.
Last question, Brandon. Speaking of what's next for the never-ending defender? I mean, what's next in sales? What's next in marketing? And what's next for you in terms of advertisements and just pure profit with this revolutionizing product?
Right now, I think figuring out the best way to market it, how to market it to a large amount of people in our target market. So we're thinking about 6 years old is the youngest you're gonna be able to use it, up through high school, through college, things like that. But the next step in the process is just marketing it, kind of a grassroots movement. So some of you guys watching this might know who Bobby Steinberg is. He's a Division I basketball coach. He worked at Kent. We became affiliated, and he's on our team. And he has a lot of ideas of just different tournaments we can go to, coaching clinics, things around the country. So it's really just looking, okay, what am I doing right now that's marketing that's working? What's not working? How to figure out what will work better and to do that. So in one word, kind of a grassroots marketing thing where we're going to meet players and meet coaches in person and be able to give demonstrations of our product.
Brandon, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. And on behalf of everybody at TV2 Sports, we wish you luck in any future endeavors you have in the business world with the never-ending defender.
Good stuff.
When we come back, we'll take a look at some amazing plays beyond the professionals right here in Kent, Ohio. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right back.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Sports Corner. Ohio State and Michigan, one of the most iconic rivalries in college sports, was renewed on the hardwood in Columbus yesterday. Let's go to Columbus. Second half, 59-58, Michigan C.J. Walker working on some moves against Franz Wagner. Pulls up. He had 15 points off the bench. We go. Buckeyes up 65-63. Walker gets his pass stolen by Sean D. Brown Jr. and Franz Wagner to Brown Jr. for a bucket to make it a tied game in Columbus. Michigan up by 2 with 7:19 left. Dwayne Washington finds E.J. Liddell for a basket off of pick and roll and one. Liddell at 23 and 10 in this game. All tied up at 69. Isaiah Livers misses a 3, but Brown Jr. gets the rebound and the putback. He had 15 points off the bench. Lots of good bench play in this game. 73-69. Michigan. Washington Jr. shakes off a Michigan defender and knocks down a desperately needed Buckeye 3. He led the Scarlet and Gray with 30 points in this game. 73-72 Michigan with 4:21 left in this game. Mike Smith looking for someone, and he finds a big fella, Hunter Dickinson, for a ferocious dunk. Michigan with a 3-point lead. Buckeyes down 3 with over 2 minutes to go. Major offensive discommunication would ice the game for Michigan. Juwan Howard wins his first Ohio State-Michigan game as Michigan wins 92-87.
And from the capital of Ohio to the shores of Lake Erie, we got Cavs and Thunder with a ferocious, thunderous dunk by Jarrett Allen to start off. Later on, Windler finds JaVale McGee with the slam of his own. But, you know, my favorite restaurant item to get is the chicken marsala, and Mike Muscala was just hitting them from everywhere last night as he had one open 3 there. And why not get another one during the highlight as he hits one over Colin Sexton. Later on, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the hard and one finish for the Thunder, as the Thunder were doing everything this game right. Damian Dotson finding Jarrett Allen again for another alley-oop dunk. Later on in this game, however, another alley-oop dunk to Jarrett Allen. That was his third of the game, it seemed like. 101-117, Muscala gives me another chicken marsala. Thunder win that one in cruising fashion.
I like what you did there, partner. Let's get to the KSU top 5 plays. Gavin Schoenman with a high jump of 2.07 meters for the top Kent State score in the event. Number 4, Danny Pippen gets the steal and goes coast to coast for the two-handed flush. He had one of the greatest games of his career, Austin.
He did, and let's get to play number 3. Rachel DeCavich with her career high 9.9 on the uneven bars. What a beautiful play by Rachel DeCavich. Number 2, Grace Tennant with her personal best throw on shot put. She sent that to the moon and back.
And number 1, Giovanni Santiago gets the steal and gets a flashy pass to Danny Pippen, who throws it down for the left hand. What a weekend of great plays it was, Austin.
And when we come back, you're right, Dante. When we come back, we have Centofanti selections, Magic Money Line by me, and the men on the Silver Mountain. So don't turn the dial. We'll be right back.
I had one the whole time. I had a sheet the whole time, so that's why I threw it back.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
Why is my son having trouble in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with my son over his homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No. He's smart, but his mind wanders.
7 wonders of the world.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Let's catch them before it's too late. To start helping students in your community, visit boostup.org.
Welcome back to Sports Corner, everybody. Without further ado, let's get to the Magic Money Line. We were 0-3 the first week, I'm not going to lie. Then we went 3-0 to follow it up at 500. So here's what I have on the slate for you. First, our appetizer is the Celtics over the Mavericks. I know these are a little out of order, but Celtics over the Mavericks, I got them at plus 125. I know they've been struggling lately, but we will forgive and move on. Then I have the Red Wings over the Predators for our entree. I think they're going to go into Nashville and take a win. And then finally, on Saturday night, for UFC Fight Night 12 in Vegas. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, the number 3 heavyweight, and all of the heavyweights will beat Cyril Gane, plus 205 underdog for Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
I get money I got, right, Austin? This year is Carson Wentz's year. The 28-year-old product of North Dakota State will now, once again, have an offense that is halfway decent. He was traded to the Indianapolis Colts this past week, and what that means is he is now no longer with the franchise that is a hot mess. Yes, Carson Wentz was in the basement of many NFL statistics a year ago, but he now has an elite offensive line, an offense which was ranked in the top 10 a year ago, a fresh start with head coach Frank Reich, and lastly, playmakers. This was all the writing for an MVP-type season, so doubt one of the greatest FCS college players ever at your own risk, because it's going to be all Colts in 2021. And now to my man on the Silver Mountain, it's Cam Newton. Look, we've all seen the viral video of him being heckled by a kid training at his camp, but I think it's ridiculous. That's not what I'm going to talk about, that ridiculous clip. What I'm going to talk about is the disrespect towards Cameron Newton. He's one of the great players in the history of football, pro or college. We need to start respecting his accolades and thinking of him as truly a Hall of Famer.
Dante, I agree with you. Cam Newton is a Hall of Famer. You don't win an MVP for no reason. But this week's man on the Silver Mountain, from my perspective, is Michigan basketball's head coach, Juwan Howard. It's almost rare seeing ex-NBA ex-NBA player head into the college ranks and be very impactful from the get-go. For Howard, however, he has done just that since being at Michigan. Howard has won an incredible 35-13 so far at Michigan and has the Wolverines at a Big Ten best 16-1. And as of yesterday, Dante, they are 11-1 in the conference. I mean, Juwan Howard's just been that great. He was in the NBA from 1994 to 2013, then immediately coached under Eric Spoelstra. So, what do you got to say? I mean, Dante, that's just...
Getting back to what I was talking about it with Cam Newton, don't you think it's ridiculous? I know I just called him a Hall of Famer, but don't you think it's a little bit ridiculous how we just keep disrespecting Cam Newton's name? He is one of the most talented, most electrifying players we've ever seen in the NFL. And if he's going on the downslopes, he's going on the downslopes. It's happened to every great quarterback in the history of the NFL. Why do we keep having to make jokes at Cam Newton? I just don't get it.
I don't get it as well, Dante. I think Cam Newton's been just one of those players that has really impacted the game, and he's kind of led the blueprint for quarterbacks like Lamar and Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes even. He has been a quarterback in this league since 2011, and
Box office television. Box office television every time you turn Cam Newton on your television set. And as we bid adieu to you all, Portage County, thank you for welcoming us into your homes. For TV2 Sports, I'm Dante Centofanti.
And I'm Austin Arnold. Be sure to come back next week at 8 p.m. for more Sports Corner. For now, goodbye.